The story begins where we left off from the last episode, where Lois Lane had a brief run-in with the League of Loises and discovers the dark truth about Superman's alternate realities going rogue. She wonders if that will happen to her Superman and fears that no one can stop him if he does. Meanwhile, Clark is about to sleep when he suddenly hears voices from a distance and discovers that he has super hearing. Since then, he's been flying around Metropolis saving people. While listening to the voices of the victims, Superman overhears the ominous voice of the General and tries to track him down, but with no success. Jimmy later arrives at an empty apartment after he visits his parents. He worries that Clark may have tried to contact him and explains that he ran out of battery because he left his charger at the apartment. Jimmy was ecstatic to find 500 new followers on his Flamebird account when he checked his phone. After reviewing the comments, he later realized that Superman had been busy. Superman later arrives to welcome him back, but after a quick observation of the place, Jimmy realizes that Clark has not been sleeping much, to which he admits. Superman explains that now he has super hearing and overheard the General. He discovered that the General destroyed Cadmus and kidnapped Heatwave, Intergang, and everyone who ran into his crazy tech weapons. Superman suspects the General's in the city and is planning something big, but cannot find him anywhere. After hearing about Superman's long day, Jimmy suggests he rest, but Clark suddenly remembers Lois and quickly flies out to her. After seeing a million new followers, Jimmy tells Superman to continue what he's doing. Lois reports to work at the Daily Planet, still torn about the information she got from the League. When she opens the door, she finds petals all over the office from several bouquets. She suddenly gets a text from Clark, who is trying to surprise her for their 1-week anniversary. After seeing Clark's romantic and sweet side, she tries to convince herself that her Superman is unlike the ones from the alternate realities. Out of nowhere, Perry shows up and informs her that she will be assisting with a guest editorial writer. He keeps trying to calm her down, as he's sure she would freak out if she knew who the guest writer would be. When Lois finds out that it will be Vicky Vale, she immediately flips out. She explains how Vicky was famous for breaking the Queen Industries inheritance scandal and taking down the Falcons. Vicky quickly jumped into their conversation when Lois candidly mentions having a poster of Vicky in her bedroom. Vicky explains how she immediately accepted Perry's offer when he asked her to write an editorial for the Daily Planet. She revealed how she and Perry used to know each other from college and how she was the #1 student newspaper in the country. Perry also introduced Jimmy to be her photographer for the story. He informs Lois that Vicky's been thinking of leaving the Gotham Gazette, so he tries to scout her for the Daily Planet. He urges Lois to make sure Vicky is happy, so she will decide to switch over to them. When Lois asks what story they would be chasing, she and Jimmy were shocked when she revealed it would be about Superman as the greatest danger to Metropolis. While Superman is searching for the General, he briefly suffers from pain after simultaneously hearing everyone's voices from miles away. When he overhears a little girl lost from her parents, Superman quickly flies towards her and uses his super hearing to find her parents. Superman later sees the news of a crime spree downtown, urging its citizens to stay indoors as the criminals are armed and dangerous. He then remembers the General mentioning losing someone and suspects it might be the Invisible Man from Intergang. Vicky, Jimmy, and Lois quickly get into town to interview sources. Vicky claims that no one puts on a big show of being good unless they hide something. Lois speaks up and responds that Superman may have secrets, but his actions to help others are genuine. Vicky explains how she isn't convinced at how a superpowered being suddenly shows up and all he wants to do is pull cats out of trees. Hoping to derail Vicky's story, Lois speaks up and informs her that she should let them schedule the interviews for her. She claims that they are there to help her with her story because they know Metropolis and its people better than anyone. Their interviews began with Captain Immortal from the 5th Unit pilot, who retells how Superman saved his life when the engine stalled out. Since then, he has been forever grateful to Superman. Their following interview was with an old lady whom Superman helped carry her groceries. Next on their list is the self-proclaimed businesswoman Flip Johnson. Flip claims that she is the leader of the News Kid newspaper and describes how Superman saved her life on 2 accounts. Out of nowhere, Clark texted Jimmy and Lois and quickly pulled them into an alley. Superman believes the Invisible Man is running around Metropolis. He wants to find him as he suspects he's connected to the General. While Jimmy claims it's a simple task now that he has 2 million followers, Lois notices Superman is dozing off. She wonders if he's okay, to which he reassures her that he is. A report says an invisible force broke through the window at Morrison's pawn shop, which Jimmy suspects is Mist, the Invisible Man from Intergang. Superman quickly flies to the crime scene to catch him. Vicky later finds Jimmy and Lois in the alley and wonders what they're doing. When Lois asks if it's time for the following interview, Vicky claims she has it covered. The trio later find themselves at a Mazotech where Vicky's last interview was with Alex, Dr. Ivo's assistant. Clearly, Alex still has angst over losing his job when Superman took down Dr. Ivo. Alex paints Superman as a dangerous criminal who destroyed the tower, bankrupted a Mazotech, and put thousands of workers out of work. Vicky claims that after seeing the level of destruction there, she's more convinced that Superman is dangerous, given that this is not something any human could ever achieve. She describes Superman as responsible for wiping out good American jobs and turning the city into a war zone. Jimmy finally speaks up for his friend and explains that Superman uses his powers to save people. Alex responds to his claim by asking him what happens when Superman decides that having superpowers means he doesn't have to follow the law anymore. If Superman wanted to hurt them, what else could they do about it, as they are powerless against him? Even Lois got to thinking, although she knows Clark/Superman would never turn to the dark side, she can't deny the video she got from the League. After all that, Vicky claims she has everything she needs to write her story. Lois tries to talk to her and explain that Alex is a biased source. Vicky points out how their previous interviews were also biased towards Superman. Lois asks her not to publish the story, but Vicky tells her that if she ever wants to be number one, she won't become one by writing fluff, and that she has to go directly for blood, something noteworthy and provocative. Meanwhile, Superman flies to where Mist was last spotted, and when he finally catches up to him, he struggles with the constant noise in his head and falls badly to the ground. When Mist is about to get run over by a truck, Superman quickly jumps in and saves him. Because no one else could see Mist, the public thought Superman had gone unhinged and intentionally caused traffic in the middle of Metropolis. People started to get scared of him, even the little girl he helped earlier find her parents. While Lois claims they need to stop Vicky from publishing her story, Jimmy tells her they need to find Clark after his early traffic accident caused panic. Lois and Jimmy call out to Superman on the roof of the Daily Planet. When he finally arrives, Jimmy wonders why he would run into a truck. Superman explains that Mist ran into traffic and almost got run over, so he had to stop the car and save his life. He worries that he would lose his lead to finding the General. Lois thought that would be for the best. She asks him what he intends to do after finding the General, or does he intend to fight the entire US military? Superman explains that the General has kidnapped people and it is up to him to stop him. Jimmy thinks he's burning himself out and worries about what the people say about him. When Superman goes through the comments, he realizes that the people start to fear him. He claims he will have to fix that, but for now, he has to find the General. Lois suggests he take a break from being Superman and try to be normal. Superman quickly flies out after hearing Lois thinks he's not normal too. Superman once again relies on his super hearing and focuses only on Mist. He finally finds and catches up to him, trying to explain that he just wanted to talk to him. Mist asks him to let him go as he needs to save his sister and his best friend. He explains that after Superman ruined their previous bank heist, someone took away Shaban and Albert. He managed to escape but followed them back to their base, where they took them to an underground facility with other prisoners. He overheard them saying they plan to move the prisoners to some new location today. He worries that he will never find them again if he doesn't break them out. Having said that, Superman quickly offers to help him break out Shaban and Albert. Superman and Mist finally arrive at the location, but the plane had just flown off. Mist claims they were too late, so Superman quickly flew to stop the aircraft. When Superman pried open the plane doors, a mysterious assailant quickly knocked him off. Out of nowhere, Livewire, Silver Banshee, Rough House, Heatwave, Parasite, and Deathstroke fly out of the plane and surround him. Superman tries to fight back, but he's outnumbered. He thought they were prisoners, but Silver Banshee explains they are on a work release program, meaning they will be released once they finish the job of defeating him. He tried to escape, but Livewire shot him down and Heatwave and Parasite tag teams on him. Superman tries to break free from Parasite, but it kept absorbing the impact and releasing it in one go to send him crashing to the ground. Lois and Jimmy return to the Daily Planet to stop Vicky from publishing the story, but they are a second too late. Jimmy realized that Vicky was just using the story to get promoted to becoming the new editor-in-chief of the Gotham Gazette. Lois worries that the article will hurt Clark when Jimmy suddenly receives an alert from his followers of a live stream of Superman battling with other superpowered humans at the park. Seeing Superman beat down and ganged up on, Lois and Jimmy quickly run to the scene to try and help their friend. The villains beat him down while the rest of Metropolis watches silently. Out of nowhere, Superman bursts into power and defeats them each one by one, except for Parasite, who's a very bad match for him as the suit can withstand his full strength. Parasite then uses its powers to absorb Superman's energy as purple streaks of veins appear all over his body. The General finally shows up and orders Dr. Ivo to stand down. When he refuses to listen to him, Amanda Waller zaps him with the electric collar everyone has on their necks, to which Mist shows to have one too, suggesting that he was part of the setup. Although weakened, Superman asks the General why he's doing this to him, to which he explained that Superman is no hero, but the end of the world. Superman tries to convince him otherwise, but Livewire zaps him to knock him out. Lois and Jimmy finally arrive, but the villains have already loaded Superman into the plane and flew away. The end. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap that bell to be notified about our latest videos. We'll see you next time.